Anilo Premadana Olo Shurala Natapati Sapava Gomura Atajaga Oshane Utibo Mata Anale Pashivu Ashane Kutivu Mata Anale Pashivu Ranga Gunero Nire Kota Kele Pavo Ranga Gunero Nire Kota Kele Shava Shangira Shange Chekoilo Vila Shava Shangira Shange Chekoilo Vila Shangana Paya Kande Naru Tamada Sangana Paya Kande Naru Tamada Anilo Emadana Guruna Prashu Anilo Emadana Guruna Prashu Prabhu Kota Yela Achorya Togu Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. I think a very important thing to understand, not be in denial of, and so forth, is that Prabhupada founded ISKCON. Before ISKCON, he founded the League of Devotees. And he founded this institution and then later ISKCON for the reasons of istagosti, that means spiritual communication, that means open discussion, addressing controversial topics, allowing everybody to express themselves. And then he said that he wanted unity. He used the word unity, together, and Sankirtan, and was 4 of the 7 reasons for ISKCON. You know, there's 2 types of people. There's the humanistic and pathetic type, and then there is the competitive, dominating type, right? So Prabhupada explains that unless you have, he said that competition is very good, but unless you have a stagosti, in other words, very good spiritual communication, the competition will turn into anger and efforts to dominate. And that is the Hare Krishna movement today, the bulk of it, right? These dominating, competitive types that are angry, they say, I'm going to save everybody, you should all surrender to me. We should not have violence, you know, of any kind. You should not lie about each other, you should not try to intimidate others, you should not try to silence others, we should not, of course, physically attack anybody. The example was given by Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya himself, right? That when Nityananda was hurt by an earthen pot thrown by Jagaya Madai, Lord Chaitanya was ready to kill. But Nityananda said, no, that's not our philosophy. We're supposed to kill the philosophy. To kill the body is easy. So, and that's what we're about. We're about killing the rascal demonic philosophy. So, we're proposing with this memorial of Sulochan Prabhu, who passed away, killed violently 32 years ago, that we all agree on this point. No, at the very least, no gross violence. That way we can identify anybody that uses gross violence, that he's out of the culture. He belongs to the Vedavata Rata culture, not to the Krishna consciousness culture. And if we do this, we'd probably be the only entity in the history of the world that they have agreed not to ever use gross violence against each other. And Prabhupada will be very pleased with that. And this is the Chaitanya movement. Let's start thinking about true progression. Not just position, money, properties, with no feeling. Krishna consciousness is about feeling of the heart. This book is extremely important. The book that you have written. It's extremely important. Very well researched, very well written. And every devotee should read this book to get an idea of the history, the philosophy, and very importantly, who is who in this movement. We are way behind. It's been 32 years. Srila Prabhupada would have asked us to do this practically immediately, I think, after Sulochan was murdered. 32 years. I don't think, perhaps not one person had a moment of silence for Sulochan Prabhu, but to speak collectively. So we're doing the right thing here, and devotees are appreciating it. They're going to take it up. It's going to continue year by year, and we're going to please Prabhupada, and that's the secret in spiritual life. You please the spiritual master, that's it. You're off the hook. You're on your way to Krishna Loka. Thank you all for coming, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sulochan Prabhu. Haribo.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhus, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. We're here today to commemorate one of our God brothers who fought against corruption and was killed because of that, because of his threats, which he attempted to expose some of the immoral and criminal activities which were going on in the movement at that time. He was far from a perfect example of a devotee, and he had plenty of faults. But he did love Srila Prabhupada. I believe that. Nothing that he ever said ever disagreed with his spiritual master like that. And he also was very dedicated to exposing that corruption, which ended in his death. So I would like to ask all of you to, there's two points, two facets here. One is that we do want to maintain some kind of purity, all right? And following strictly the instructions like that. But we also have to understand that we're all God brothers, all right? And we may disagree vehemently on certain aspects, whether they be philosophical or practical, all right? And that's okay. That's all right. But at least for this time, I don't see any reason why we can't get together and chant together in kirtan and embrace each other and offer obeisances to each other, just like the Kshatriyas that were fighting in the Battle of Kurukshetra. They were mortal enemies, all right? But in the evenings, after the fighting was done, they would often get together for dinner and to drink and to joke and to just associate with each other. So I would like all of us, no matter what our differences are, to be able to come together and see that Super Soul is in each person. I'm not saying we shouldn't give up our battles, all right? Because each person is kind of committed to what they see as correct, all right? But I would be very happy if we could also put ourselves into each other's shoes and see, well, they think the same thing, and maybe we don't have to kill each other anymore about that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we are gathered here at this very auspicious month during the month of Purushottam, where devotional activities are giving much more benefit to all the different devotees. And now we are here as a memorial service. So memorial means memory. We're trying to remember Sulochan Prabhu's service, all the good that he did, the best of his service, and all the members of the Hare Krishna movement should be able to relate to this. All the mothers and fathers, all the farmers and working people, students, pujaris, just everyone. And we are praying for Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya's mercy to help us push forward the Sankirtan movement. It's like Lord Krishna says in the Gita, Pritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam. He comes to bless the devotees, the sadhus, and to destroy the demoniac. So we want to mention here how devotional service is actually meant for blessing the whole world, and to help us explain here what is devotional service and what is not devotional service. For example, Sulochan Prabhu's death was in a very bad, horrible way. So our devotional service is meant that we follow Krishna's instructions and ask for Srila Prabhupada's mercy and remember Sulochan Prabhu, because he did perform so many activities. Especially he wanted to expose abuse, corruption, and undevotional activities. And now here in America at this time, the last couple of years, we are in a type of environment where many people who are very powerful, wealthy, have had their lives pointed out that they have done different things which are abusive, improper, harmful to children and women and other people in general. So we are also trying to follow that spirit in the mood of a memorial service for Sulochan Prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
This devotee just appeared. He had long conversations personally with Prabhupada. He is the grandson of a follower of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And he heard about this memorial and he showed up here. Incredible. So we're asking Marco to share some of the pastimes that he had with Prabhupada himself.
Yes, so one of the pastimes is I enjoyed the association of Sri Prabhupada. I enjoyed being with them for 6 weeks in 1967 in the Frederick Street Temple. And one day we were walking, we caught up, myself and Stephanie, we caught up with Bhaktivedanta Swami and with Tamal Krishna and a third devotee, I believe a carpenter, as they walked in the panhandle of Golden Gate Park. Then we engaged in some discussion. First, Stephanie and I asked our question, which was, what is the difference between what you teach and what Jesus Christ taught? Bhaktivedanta Swami's reply was, well, we do have many points in common, and we have, though, our Supreme Lord, our Father, in common. Then it was Tamal Krishna's time to ask a question. So he posed this question to Bhaktivedanta Swami. Bhaktivedanta Swami had just returned from India. We had a very severe illness and thought he was going to not come back. He thought he would pass away in India. Well, when he did come back, the devotees at Frederick Street rejoiced. Then Tamal Krishna asked him, well, when you do finally leave our company and are going back to the spiritual world, the death of your bodily person, in whose name should we initiate devotees? Bhaktivedanta Swami without hesitation replied, it is in my name alone you must initiate the devotees. But then that was not enough. We were walking in the panhandle of Golden Gate Park near Oak Street and along Fulton. Well, he stopped, turned around, and nearly jumping up and down, exclaimed, it is only in my name you shall initiate the devotees.
Wow!
Now, there was no doubt whatsoever of what he meant. Sri Lochan, in whom we honor today, I did not know him personally, but I read and hear that he was a frank person who wanted only that the true instructions of our spiritual master be laid out very clearly and for all to understand. And so we're very touched to have been invited to this ceremony this afternoon, and I do have great confidence that the spirit that Sri Lochan displayed would be infectious, and that all in the association and all who are following Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada would catch that spirit of forthrightness and of justice, and keep the flame of spiritual life glowing. Thank you.
So that's one of the things we have to find out is what he liked to eat. He was a big guy. He used to like lift weights and stuff. So we'll find out in time.
Yeah.
This thing just not even 3 weeks ago, we knew that we were going to do this. And
It was your idea.
my idea?
Yes, it was.
I have no idea.
It was your idea, Mahatma.
Krishna is the one that does everything. What are you talking about?
Any idea that results in a nice feast is always a great idea, if you ask me.
Well, that comes from Krishna. It won't come from me. Trust you me.
You were the instrument.
This will be held every year. I think more and more devotees will know about Sulochan. He was ahead of his time. That's what happened, you know. He was really ahead of his time.
So nobody could join him. Just like now, still, people are a little behind. Of course, it's a weekday today. So 32 years it took to do a little thing like this. Amazing. You know, we have to fix that. Our conscience has to get better. And you took the initiative to do this book, which is amazing. So I think that this will be the birth of something new that is honorable.
We have to let them know that we're not after reopening the trial and making people suffer and all. No, we're not into that. You know, instilling fear. No, you know, we already discussed that. We are into honoring the truth, honoring Sulochan for what he did, and the truth will help everybody, including those that are in denial now about these things. Eventually it's going to help, and it's going to make things better for everybody. Now,
You're a preacher, I could tell.
what is that?
You like to have a captive audience listening to you, and especially a quiet audience, because we're eating now, you know, and my mouth is closed, but
Right, that way you cannot respond back.
I have to listen.
You just have to listen.
It's
And
all right.
accept. By the way, Sulochan was very, for what I gathered, you know, from devotees in your book, he loved humor. And he made devotees laugh all the time. Puranjana told me that they used to laugh like anything, the two of them.
Well, the same with Bhaktivedanta Swami. Every hour they're at Frederick Street, they're in the kitchen or in the foyer, or even during that week we were remodeling. That Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday we spent remodeling. We could count on him saying something
Very
every
funny.
hour that would have us nearly rolling on the floor.
That's what's about.
It was the timing. He could have been an accomplished comedian.
There's this one, yeah, of course,
the
Prabhupada
mind-
is everything.
A man leaving the lecture there on one Sunday afternoon on Frederick Street in San Francisco in 1967. This would have been August or September of 67. And the man said, well, I don't think I'll be back. I don't really go for organized religion. With perfect timing, then Bhaktivedanta Swami stepped up and said, oh, please come back. You'll feel comfortable because we're very disorganized here.
I'm not a scholar, I don't know Sanskrit, this and that, but there's things that stick to my mind. A more advanced devotee is somebody that is equal to all, no? Whether you have money or you don't have money, you don't care. Whether you're a famous person or a beggar on the street, you don't care. He's equal to all. That's one quality. Two, he's friendly to all.
Oh, yes.
Friendly to all living entities, right? And he is jolly, happy, cracking up, you know, smiling, laughing, cracking his joke. Prabhupada was very humorous, right?
It was just off-the-cuff humor, you know. Every hour in the hour you could count on it. He did not ever sit on a vyasasana. You could only see him seated on a big pillow. It was a very ornate,
It was comfortable.
elaborate pillow, but we were all at eye level.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody was equal.
Actually, when I first walked into the temple, having been invited there by Shyamasundar, Sundar, who had been going up and down the sidewalks inviting everyone to a vegetarian feast and a lecture. So when I finally showed up at 3 p.m. on a Sunday, I opened the door and I saw a man up on a stepladder with a pipe wrench in his hand. He was tightening a steam pipe. Well, when the man on the stepladder came down, he introduced himself saying, "My name is Bhaktivedanta and I'm the Swami here."
Prabhupada
No, he was
is a
repairing a a steam pipe with a pipe wrench, a big old pipe wrench. Now, there was no one else assisting him. So, but he invited me to sit here. Please sit here and read our holy book, the Bhagavad Gita, and we also have copies of a magazine called Back to Godhead.
Right.
Because you were 2 hours early for the lecture, but then we'll let you know when the lecture's about to begin. That was my introduction to Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, up on a stepladder with a pipe wrench in his hand, which let me know.
Do you expect him to be the one sitting on the pillow later on to give the lecture?
Oh yes, because he.
Oh, you did, because you knew he was. Everybody knew he was a holy man.
Yeah, he said, "My name is Bhaktivedanta. I'm the Swami here." So, right from the get-go, I knew who he was. So
you said that Prabhupada, he used to serve the prasadam to the devotees personally.
oh yes, there was this most delicate finger food that I've never seen prepared ever since then. There were 5 or 6 devotees in the serving line, serving us, because maybe 40 to 50 would be in attendance on any given Sunday. But then my question is, what did Bhaktivedanta Swami, what did he himself do while the prasadam was being served? Well, I saw the answer with my own eyes. He himself joined the serving line as one of the servers. Yes.
We have to learn that, huh? I was sitting expecting all of you guys to serve me.
I understand that late in his life, Prabhupada would talk sometimes about the early days in New York at 26 2nd Avenue and also at Frederick Street. And from what I read, those were very happy days. He said, very happy days for me, and you can imagine, because it's like a family. It's small. Everybody knows each other,
Yes.
and you don't have in a big company. You have like all sorts of demanding things going on, But a smaller family, it must have been very, very sweet. In certain things, once you get a big company together, you can't do. It's very difficult, more difficult to do that. Once you have a hierarchy. In the beginning, it was like you said, you're sitting at the same level, but with a big organization, it's. And I'm not saying that it's not a good thing. I'm just saying that things change when huge numbers of people are becoming involved. You can't. It's difficult to get that same intimacy, but you still have, if you follow, you still get the same result, which is love of God, like that.
Jayananda Prabhu, who is the only confirmed by Prabhupada's Siddha, or perfect devotee, right? He said he was my ideal disciple. He is the one that gave the first $5,000, and before he passed away, he sent Prabhupada another $5,000 to print books, right? And Prabhupada wrote a long letter and said at the end, there's no doubt that he went back to Krishna Loka. And you should follow, he was my ideal disciple, and you should follow his example. He didn't say that about anybody, right? That has to be clear. And on top of that, he said, you have to put his picture in the Rath Yatra. Every Rath Yatra festival has to have Jayananda's picture by order of Prabhupada there, right? But not only that, he said, Jayananda's must be in the Vaishnava calendar. Anybody that is found in the Vaishnava calendar is Siddha, is a perfect devotee, a great Acharya, a Mahajan, Paramahansa, Mahabhagavat,
like
Uttamadhikari, right? Topmost devotees.
Disappearance day.
So, for his disappearance day, he's in the Vaishnava calendar.
Disappearance day.
That makes him Siddha. That makes him Siddha. He joins in the Vaishnava calendar with all the other Siddhas. But, interestingly enough, Jayananda was a super simple guy, and he was in the beginning doing the best he could with what he had. He had a really old truck. The truck had holes in the floor where you could see the floor going by, right? And the truck needed a lot of repairs. But the Rath Yatra festival had to go on. So the truck didn't have an accelerator, So Jayananda put some sort of wire or something and attached that to his toe. And he would accelerate. He would accelerate that way. with this string attached to the engine acceleration system, whatever, right? To his toe. And that's how he drove around New York. And since he was a taxi driver, he could just, the boys were, oh my God, but he would not hit anybody. He was expert driver, right? And he got the, in that way, he got the Rath Yatra going, right? Interesting. You think any of us could do anything like that? Who in this could do something like that? Huh? Nobody. Only a Siddha, I think.
Yes.
Right? Only somebody like, you know, sure enough, such a simple guy, you know. I think Jayananda, I'm kind of speculating, but I think that he felt so humble before his spiritual master, and that he was not doing enough service, that when Prabhupada showed up, he would be under a truck fixing some brake system or something. And Prabhupada said, "Where is Jayananda?" And then he would come, you know, humble. I think he just felt like too ashamed to be in front of his spiritual master, but he's such a humble, true devotee.
He didn't want to put himself as being number one, that Prabhupada has to see me first. He didn't think like that.
And they didn't think like that. I had kind of a supernatural experience with Jayananda, where, you know, I'm praying for my godbrothers. I realized I was praying for my godbrothers in my sleep. I don't know. That is Jayananda. It's not me. I attribute it to Jayananda, you know. And then I asked, you know, it was a supernatural experience. It really was. And I've had about 15, and this is one of them. And so I asked on Facebook, Prabhu, any of you have had any supernatural experience with Jayananda? You know, where you attribute what happened to Jayananda? And nobody responded. But the other day, spontaneously, somebody was sharing, you know what? I've been reading about Jayananda, and I think he was like considering suicide or something. He was like very depressed, something. And the moment he read about Jayananda, he said, I became like totally fixed up again. You know, chanting Hare Krishna as I should, and everything became
Positive outlook.
positive, and everything came into perspective. And you know, basically he was saying, you know what, Jayananda saved my life. So I'm curious of what could happen if devotees read about Jayananda, also about Sulochan, right? It will help them about the history, about the philosophy, about who is who in the movement, and so forth. But
is there a biography? A biography of Jayananda?
Oh yeah, there are biographies. The different devotees. There is at least 2 or 3 books. You know, so you can get them online. Hrishikesh Prabhu wrote one. You can get them for like $8 or something. And so I think that it's time to follow the instruction of Prabhupada that said that all of us should follow the good example of Jayananda Prabhu. When they're looking at each other, Jayananda Prabhupada, it's amazing. It's like they're totally like connected, that they're moving this movement forward, the two of them. That's the impression that you get. It's a very personal, intimate, like, relationship, you know, that you don't see Prabhupada looking into the face of any other disciple like he did with Jayananda Prabhu. I want devotees to consider in studying about Jayananda and see what happens in your life, and share with the rest.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Sulochan Prabhu ki
Jai!
Sulochan Prabhu ki
Jai!
Sulochan Prabhu ki
Jai!
Prabhupada ki
Jai!
Prabhupada ki
Jai!
Prabhupada ki
Jai!